Okay.
Hello. Hi to everyone just joining. My name is Savannah. Welcome to community call number 5 for pTokens. We're here today with Jay Zhou from Loopring. But before we do that, we're just going to talk a little bit about what's been happening at pTokens and a few introductions. I'm the marketing manager for pTokens, and we also have here Thomas Bertani, who is our founder.
Hello, everyone.
We also have Alice, who is head of operations.
Hello, everyone. So yeah, I think we can start, and I can give you a brief update of what has happened in the last few weeks before we kick off our fireside chat with Jay today. So a few updates from me. As some of you may know, we have recently introduced our governance token that's called pNT, pNetwork token. So this token was introduced as an upgrade of the EDO token, and that's basically a token that was serving the purpose of benefiting all the services provided by the EDO app, so such as, for example, the EDO swap that enables you to easily swap ERC20 tokens, leveraging a variety of protocols. And now the token, thanks to the upgrade, it's called pNT, and other than serving all the functions that it was serving before, it's also useful because it is the governance token of the pNetwork. So this means that this token will be really valuable within the ecosystem, as it will enable community participation to boost the project. Community members will in fact be able to join the pNetwork DAO and vote on improvement proposals, so actually helping out with the development and success of the project, as well as they can leverage the token to join in and become a validator, so be involved even more within the actual support of the system. So all this is part of our progressive decentralization process that we are implementing. As you may know, we have kicked off with the first series of pTokens, so pBTC, that's tokenized Bitcoin, available both on Ethereum and on EOS. And as we go further, we will be introducing more pTokens bridges to connect even more blockchains and assets, but we will also move towards a more and more decentralized system. So the first step for this to happen was the introduction of this governance token that's called pNT. So this was successfully done on June 18th, and the next step in this decentralization spectrum for us is the introduction of a pNetwork DAO that will happen according to the roadmap in a few weeks' time. So pNT is currently available and listed on a variety of exchanges, including Binance, Bitfinex, HitBTC in terms of centralized exchanges. And in terms of decentralized exchanges, pNT is listed on Kyber Network and Loopring. Something else that I wanted to share with you, in case you missed that, are the new integrations that we have been working on and that we have released in the past couple of weeks. So one integration is more for techies, I would say. That's the integration of the pTokens system with any sender. Any sender is a technical system that basically enables transactions on Ethereum to be processed at a relatively fast speed, regardless of network congestion. So as some of you may know, network congestion is, is not great, and is creating issues for all major projects within the ecosystem, delaying transactions and increasing the fees. So basically, any sender is a solution that that reduces that, and we have integrated with it. And then another integration that we made is the one with Loopring. So Loopring is a decentralized exchange, and we have integrated there to support both pBTC and pNT. So now I will pass the microphone to our founder, Thomas, and to Jay from Loopring.
Thanks, Alice, for sharing the updates of the work we have been doing over the last few weeks. I think that some of the things you have just mentioned are really interesting, and we will dive into those in the future community calls as well. For instance, the any sender integration is quite interesting in helping out with the current congestion status on the Ethereum mainnet. As everyone knows, right now it's both very expensive to transact on the Ethereum mainnet and slow and sort of unpredictable given the continuously varying gas prices. So the integration with any sender helps a lot in having Ethereum transactions being sent by the system that are as optimized as possible for what the gas price is concerned. So I think that one is sort of like the most advanced solution available at the moment for optimizing transaction confirmation times when the network is congested. So I'm glad we have integrated that, and the AnySender team has been super valuable in providing their support and in creating such a wonderful service. So thanks for that. While the pNetwork DAO that we are currently working on and is planned for release later this month will enable community governance over different decisions going forward. So I'm super excited to share more on this front in the next community call, most likely. And now in the rest of this one, we are going to have a fireside chat with Jay from Loopring. Loopring, as it was just said, is like a new generation DEX, let's say next gen DEX. So I will let Jay introduce himself, and then we will start with some questions to understand better how Loopring is different from normal DEX exchanges that operate fully on chain.
Hey guys, it was a pleasure to be invited to to do this AMA here. So I'm Jay, co-founder and the COO at the Loopring protocol. So before I start, I want to let you guys know a bit of background about us. We Loopring founded back in 2017, and we did our token sale and raised quite a bit ethers. And our initial idea was to develop a decentralized exchange on the Ethereum blockchain, and we have developed and released our decentralized exchange in 2017 and 2018, but it was on the Ethereum mainnet. So we all know the speed was ridiculously slow, and the cost for the gas is super expensive. Then we decide to switch or to find out another solutions instead of waiting for Ethereum mainnet to scale up. So now we come up with this technology called zkRollup, or in the other words, you call it zero knowledge proof. So the Loopring protocol smart contract and the zk knowledge proof circuits allow the building of high performance decentralized exchange using a zkRollup construction. This allows for high throughput and the low settlement costs without sacrificing Ethereum level security guarantees. This means instead of not like the sidechain solutions, you have to kind of give up your securities. For the zkRollup solutions, the security level is same as the Ethereum mainnet. And we also found the zkRollup technology can be used not only for decentralized exchange, but also for the payment, like layer 2 payment. As we know, to have the mainstream adoption, like Reddit, they are looking for distribute the Reddit tokens to the community users. There's million of Reddit community users on are waiting for the solutions. So we think right now the zkRollup decentralized exchange will be the next version of decentralized exchange. And also I want to mention, maybe some people think decentralized exchange, because we talk about decentralized exchange since 2017. But back in 2017, the largest decentralized exchange was IDEX. They contributed about 5 million trading volumes, like $5 million trading volumes per year. That was the largest. Then moved to 2018 and 2019, especially 2018, the entire decentralized exchange ecosystems contribute about 2.5 billion USD volumes. And in 2019, Uniswap come out, which the entire volume increased a little bit. So it was like 2.7 billion USD for the entire 2019. But this year, we find the DeFi wave has started. I think most of you guys just heard the AMM, the automatic market making strategy, and also yield farming. And this has really caught up the hot topic recently. And if we look up the data, in the first half year of 2020, the entire decentralized exchange volume now is about 6 billion. So it already surpassed the total 2017, 2019, and 2018 trading volumes. And we are still expecting more adoption in later this year, because more and more decentralized exchange will upgrade the infrastructure and become more scalable.
Cool. Thanks, Jay, for introducing like how the approach you guys are following is different, and in general, like DEXs and the trend. I've prepared some notes with some questions for you, and I have so many, so I'm looking where to start from, because some concepts you have already introduced. So maybe what I wanted to start from is like diving a little bit deeper into zkRollups. I know that like well, we all know that scalability for public blockchains is like a big topic, and it's really complex. And the Ethereum 2.0 is working on that with POS and sharding and other like approaches based on that. But zkRollup is something we can use right now, we can use today on the Ethereum mainnet. So it's great to see that with something like that on the Ethereum mainnet, we can achieve like 2,000 transactions and actually per second. And actually, what you said that it's like sort of different from a sidechain is interesting, because like sidechains are normally like have a different trust model, or they have a federation or things like that, while zkRollups they can be basically challenged on chain at any time, right? So can you maybe dive a little bit deeper like on that to explain how zkRollups are layer 2 and how they should be interpreted in the context of interoperability? Like for instance, something like related to that I'm interested to know, to ask you and to see what your opinion is like, does the use of zkRollup sort of create constraints for composability with other tools in the Ethereum ecosystem, and how so? Like, is there any solution? Is it a problem? Is there any demand that you see so far that is constrained by this?
Oh, yes, definitely, definitely. Since we launched our zkRollup solution in end of February, we already received a lot of requests from the DeFi community, from the crypto space, many crypto wallets, dApp, and also the other blockchain projects. They want to integrate our technology to help them to adopt the users. Yeah, for the layer 2, we call it layer 2 or zkRollup technology. Or more specifically, we call it zero knowledge proof technology. It's very simple. It's like for example, layer 1, like Ethereum mainnet. It's like, we can think it's just like an avenue. It's like a 4-lane drive. We know it's already slow because all the cars are running on this 4-lane road. Then what we do is we build a highway on the top of this avenue, like high speed way on the top of this avenue with like 100 lanes, or even yes, I think more than 100, because we scale up more than 100x. So it would be like 500 or at least 200 lanes to enable all the cars to drive through this highway. But because it's why we call it layer 2, because layer 1 is underneath, layer 2 is on the top of it. So it will be another infrastructure running by the smart contract or operated by the smart contract. That means if for example, if a transaction, if we think a transaction is a car, if this car or this asset have to go through a layer 2, first what you need to do is to transfer your layer 1 asset onto layer 2 asset. So once you are into a high speed lane, then you can move your token completely free, and it will be instantly. That's how it works. Because I'm not a developer, so I'm trying to use a not too technical way to explain it.
That's definitely what's needed for people, for wider audience to understand this technology. I think a lot of people are really excited for zkRollup, but I don't think it's that. I mean, the technology is super interesting, but I think the most interesting aspect of it is that we can deliver a user experience that looks very different from the super slow one that blockchain dApps have been traditionally providing to the users. So can you maybe say something more around that, on how the UX of that zkRollup can provide is better? Like, for instance, the entering or exiting this highway you have just been mentioning, and how transacting is super fast in between.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just too excited. So to enter this highway, to enter this layer 2 smart contract, so the first step will be, the experience is basically just like you move your asset from your layer 1 account to a layer 2 account. So the cost will be same. It's just like your layer 2 transfer. But once you arrive into layer 2, so everything will be in a high capable mode. For example, if you want to make a transaction or transfer to your team, your partners, or to your colleagues' account, it will be instantly and for completely free. Why it's free right now? It's free now, but doesn't mean it's technically free. It's just technically it's really cheap because 1 million transaction, the total cost for the total cost for 1 million transaction is about or less than 150 USD. So that's why each settlement, each transaction cost is pretty much you can ignore. Like all there's still a cost, but it's just so cheap. So our team, the layer two provider, or what we call layer 2 layer, will cover the cost for the users. So it's like the user experience is like now you send, like, I don't know how you guys pay your team salaries in token or stablecoin maybe. If you pay your team a salary in any cryptocurrencies, then you can either do it manually or you can use a smart contract to do it automatically. But then you have to first to pay a very high gas cost, especially these days. I think today the GY was like 60. So think about 20 transactions will cost you maybe $5, and then your friends or your team might have to wait maybe for hours and hours to receive the salary or the funds. But for layer 2, it's just like how you do with your PayPal or Venmo. Once you send out the tokens, it will be into your account instantly.
Excellent. So basically, what you're saying is that like the layer sort of pays just when we need to go to the layer 2 or back, like a fixed cost. But this could settle like a number of transactions which is super high, so the cost per transaction is really low. Hence, once we are within this like layer 2 ecosystem, we can just move very quickly and at pretty much no cost. We can do like token transfers for payments, as you have just explained, or this could be used for trades, such as what happens with the Loopring exchange, and potentially also for other use cases.
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct, right? Yeah. That's really interesting. And I was thinking while you were answering to the previous question around about your answer, and what you were saying is that you have demand from other projects, but also other chains that are interested in this technology. So potentially, if I understand this correctly, like zkRollup could be used, like it is like most of the complexity lives outside of the blockchain, like in the layer 2, and then on chain you have the complexity of like having basically taking care of the settlement, the verification, and the security side of things. So potentially this could be used also on different chains. Is it correct? Like, could you have a Loopring exchange built on EOS or other chains? I'm not asking if you are looking to do it, but if it's potentially possible, and maybe if you have considered it.
Yes, 100% correct. It can be used into different public blockchain, and to be honestly, we are also in contact with one of the top public blockchain, to discuss the possibility to deploy a layer 2 solution onto their blockchain. I cannot name them. I cannot give the name right now because we signed the memo. But it's like one of the like top 10 or top 5 public blockchain. Yes, it can be used into different blockchain.
And is this something that we should expect from Loopring in the future, if you want to say that, or is it low priority? Is it something you're actively like working on?
For now, we don't have plan to deploy into other blockchain in short term. Besides the one I'm talk about, okay. Otherwise we don't have plan.
I see. Okay. So can you maybe like comment a little bit, since we are on the pTokens community call, and like our aim is the one of connecting wrapping onto Ethereum or other chains tokens and assets that originally live elsewhere, such as pBTC for Bitcoin, but there could be also things like pEOS on Ethereum and other things like that. So how does this fit, in your opinion? Like how do all these different tokens, such as pTokens or REN, WBTC, all these alternative projects that basically are creating bridges, wrap bridges on the different blockchains for those tokens. How do they fit into the vision that Loopring has of the layer 2? Like, do you expect how much help do you expect to have from those kind of projects compared to the effort to just move Loopring on a different chain? Like, is it higher priority for you to like have Loopring, to see Loopring on a different chain, or to see the tokens from other chains living on Loopring? And second part of the question is, like, do you have any demand from people that are trading on Loopring today for other tokens? Like, do people want to trade something else, or do they mostly care around Ethereum, since it's an the Ethereum community mostly that is interacting with Ethereum dApps at the moment?
Yeah, thanks. So the first question, I think it really, the first question really depends how would you think about Ethereum in the future? Do you long Ether or not? If you think Ethereum has a good potential, then you will stay on or stay into Ethereum communities. If not, then you just deploy your product, bring your product, deploy your product into different blockchain. So for us, our decision or our answer for now is just stay into the Ethereum communities. Well, we will not deploy it into other public blockchain, but wait for project like pTokens to bring the other assets onto Ethereum, so we can help and contribute to enlarge the Ethereum ecosystems. Just like pToken can just like a pBTC, BTC is not scalable, so people think it's too slow, but pBTC can be scalable, and pBTC is pretty much 1-to-1 ratio to BTC. If, for example, if people want to do OTC like Ether to BTC, then they can just use the Ether to convert into pBTC onto Loopring. It's like pretty much instantly, and then they can withdraw the pBTC and make or convert back to BTC. So I think there's huge potentials. Yeah. So if you still long Ethereum, I think we should all help each other and build up the ecosystem for Ethereum. But I'm also think there's different strategy, because who knows, this industry changes so fast. Maybe like next public blockchain, EOS, or not EOS, or could be EOS, Polkadot or Cosmos, they might, or Tezos, even Binance Chain, they can replace Ethereum's positions. So we can also bring the other assets onto the other public blockchain.
Yeah, I think what you said is definitely right. And I mean, from my perspective, my personal point of view is that going forward, if blockchains get traction, meaning that we reach out to a much wider audience than today, the underlying blockchain will not really be very relevant, because the direction where we are going is interconnected anyway. Like we should expect in like a couple of years' time, even earlier, via different solutions that are being built from pTokens and pNetwork to Cosmos, Polkadot, and many others, to see interconnections between the different chains. So it's very likely, in my opinion, since that the UX will need to get much better, that the user will barely notice the underlying blockchain he's interacting with, and maybe, I'm saying maybe, he will just be interacting with layer 2, because it's just much faster, and it's probably not scalable anyway. to have that many transactions on like an actual blockchain. While if you use layer 2 solutions such as zkRollup and say payments via Loopring Pay, you can scale up to a very high number of transactions without creating any congestion on the mainnet. So this is like ideal for bringing crypto to the masses, and I'm sure they will. If this industry is successful, people will likely know nothing around ZK. I mean, the term zkRollup, I mean, to me is interesting because I have a technical background. To blockchain people is interesting because it's still a very technical ecosystem. But if this goes to the masses, they must never hear anything like that because this is super scary, right? I mean, zkRollup is a super technical term that today brings excitement because we know it's a new technology that enables XYZ, but users will not care. They will just expect the app to work, to be fast, to be cheap, and they, in my opinion, they will not care much of the underlying blockchain. Yet, from as for us, like the builders of this ecosystem, I think it's super critical to have those tools so that we can provide to users something that is up to their expectations, mostly around the UX and costs. So it's great to see projects, teams like yours that are actively working to solve some of the problems that today have most demand for a lot of transactions per second, and bringing them to layer 2, namely payments, so moving tokens around, and doing trades on exchanges. So as for this first part, like Loopring Pay, for instance, if we look on chain at how the gas on the Ethereum blockchain is being spent, the vast majority of it is used just to move around tokens, right? Like Tether dollars, for instance, USDT, and many others. So let's assume for a second that people start using Loopring Pay extensively, so that we don't have all this gas being spent on the main chain for moving around tokens. So let's assume people start moving USDT mostly on Loopring Pay. What would it take to get us there? What's missing? And do you think that one big role could be the ones of having exchanges supporting like Loopring for as a protocol for deposits? And are you working on something like that?
Yes. First, I have to agree with you. I completely agree with your previous comments. And second, regarding to these questions, I mean, yes, that's really good questions because why? Because zkRollup has been talked about. Vitalik has been talked about layer 2 solutions or even zero knowledge proof for a couple of years, and look back, zero knowledge proof is not a newborn technology. It's been out in the world for almost 20 years, and Zcash is using zero knowledge proof technology for anonymous. But why we just recently realized that zero knowledge proof can be used for scalable solutions, and why even we have real product like us, and also like ZK Sync, Meta Labs also has the ZK Sync solutions. Both of us, ZK roll-up solutions, and also there's Stockwell. They are using the ZK Plasma solutions, and so now. Oh, by the way, there's also optimistic roll-up solutions and a state channel, the other scalable solutions. But why we still haven't seen much adoptions? Because I think there's what's missing. I think is a really user-friendly product, because all the DeFi project require you to understand at least require you to have some point of understanding about the like how to use MetaMask, or how you're going to store your asset, like how you use your MetaMask or the other wallet to unlock or transfer or move around your asset. I think that kind of block most of people in the industries. I mean, blockchain is already, or cryptocurrency is already small amount of population compared to the whole mainstream. And then if you compare, or if you ask how many people have been used MetaMask, I think that will kind of eliminate 90% of the people. Maybe the number have been improved a bit this year because of DeFi, but in the past couple of years, when all the DeFi project or the DApp requires you to use MetaMask to log in, I think most of people just kind of give up. Unless you have certain amount of knowledgeable, and unless you have like technical background, like most of, because we know blockchain start from like technical communities. So many engineers, they know how to use MetaMask. They feel they have no complaint about using it. But if you want to have a mass adoption, you really need to get rid of the MetaMask, and to let like regular people, or even like my parents, to understand how to use it, like just how they use. My parents use Alipay. It's like PayPal in China. So have to let them to know how to register with as simple as with your mobile phone or email, plus the password to register a wallet. Good thing is now we have the smart wallet. Smart wallet come out that help us to get rid of the private keys, and because control the private keys is such a hassle. It's really paying us, to be honest, for many people. So smart wallet, I think smart wallet plus the zkRollup will play a big role in near future. So people can just go download a smart wallet, create a wallet with the password or email and a mobile phone. Then the wallet will be created, a layer 2 wallet will be created. Then they can just transfer, move, or trade, or even connect with other DeFi projects without using any MetaMask or private keys. It's just like how you use your PayPal or Venmo.
Jay, are you still here? I cannot hear you anymore. Hello, Jay?
Hello. Hey, sorry,
Yeah,
I got a bit cut off.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you were we just lost the last 10 seconds basically. So you were explaining that basically the complexity of private keys can likely be overcome in the near future, and there are some solutions to that.
Yes.
If I can comment on that, I mean, I totally agree, and I think that like as you said, MetaMask is sort of like a dependency for the entire dApps ecosystem right now. Like most dApps expect you to have MetaMask really. There are some alternatives like Wallet Connect and others, but at the end of the day, you still need a fully fledged like crypto wallet, which is sort of worsening the onboarding phase for users significantly. And as you said, like MetaMask is mostly is easily usable is easy to use for developers, but it can be really complex for the average Joe. So I agree in the sense that, I mean, we need a new generation of like wallets or interfaces so that these like users on ramp, crypto ramp is like made much easier. Can you maybe explain a little bit for Loopring? I mean, let's assume you want to onboard a user straight into the layer 2. Is it even possible in principle, or do you still need them to have an on-chain identity? Or could this on-chain identity somehow be given securely to them? Have you thought of any way to onboard users straight on the layer 2?
Yes. So for now, without any smart wallet, the onboard process is still a bit complicated because people have to use the private keys to unlock the own wallet and then transfer the asset or funds to layer 2 account. This process is kind of pain in the ass. What we think is once the smart wallet once the smart wallet is ready, then we can enable people to create a layer 2 within the smart wallet. So it's just like once they open an account, they create a wallet account, then it will be seamlessly a layer 2 account.
Yeah, makes sense. Interesting. Actually, that's I see there is a question from the audience. I don't want to move just yet to the audience questions, but we will like be following up on this topic shortly, since there is one question that has something connected to this topic. So really interesting. I have 2 more questions. I mean, I have plenty here, but I have at least 2 questions I wanted to really ask you. So one is if you could comment a little bit more on the AMM, like, and in general on liquidity pools against like the more traditional order book based approach that Loopring exchange is following. Just to understand how you see this trend, where do you see it going, and how Loopring can benefit from this success that AMM systems are having on the base layer, if you have any idea, or how they are different. I actually, the reason why I'm asking you this question is that I think this is like liquidity pools, and I mean AMM in general is a relatively new concept. I mean, we have seen it emerging in the last few years. If I'm not wrong, from the first time it was taught, it was 2017. At least personally, I'm not aware of any like earlier taught. And yeah, just wanted to understand like how Loopring sticks into this vision. If you see AMM being like complementary to the order book based approach, or if you see it competing, or if maybe one works better for something than the other, things like that.
About AMM, I don't know, man. I like from my perspective. I think just look up the compounds and balances. At the beginning, like we know, most of the volumes come from the BAT. So it's such a maybe I should say shame, or I would say the design is not perfect yet, because it will allow people to upcharge, and we can also see the DAI volumes on the compound is like, I think it's 6 times higher than the actual DAI's volumes, which kind of
yeah, that's impressive.
Which create a lot of bubbles. So what happened if the bubble bursts out? Then some people are gonna hurt, and if the bubble bursts out, then it will be a big fall, and many people are gonna hurt. But I think after that, the market will just correct into a normal way, and then I mean the market cap just will back to the normal. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think that will kill them or just shake this wave out, but things will continue and maybe people will be more careful. Yeah, so yeah, this is my opinion. I just try to be neutral. I don't want to. I don't have much comment for now. I just want to observe and see how it goes because the bubble is, cause it's the bubble is there. But it's gonna it kind of benefit the ecosystems. So this is my opinion.
Yeah, that's a very interesting take. I think that we have seen different bubbles in the past, and they have both been helping and distracting the ecosystem. They normally help because there is like a new wave of users that are getting onboarded. So it's like the ecosystem gets bigger. At the same time, as you say, at some point they will need to pop. And when they do, there will be other kinds of problems to manage, and teams both on the way up and on the way down will be. It's normally quite difficult for teams not to get distracted and to keep building. And I in the last few, I mean, I've been in the ecosystem since 2012, so I've seen it a few times. And I remember, like in the last 2 years, especially I would say 2018 and 19, people kept saying, okay, now the bubble has burst. Now we can finally go back and build because there are a lot of distractions along with the hype. That
Yes.
said, it's also beneficial for the ecosystem because it's normally what makes it like grow. Like there is an organic grow that is like constantly happens, and then there are like super fast spikes in users and adoption that happens when the price increases.
Yes, man. Organic doesn't work in this ecosystem. Everything is so pumped. I mean, like it works for them. I mean, like it worked for them, but if that's the end of the goal for the ecosystems, then it's just recycle over and over.
Yeah. Cool. So I have like questions around. I have a question around LRC. If you can maybe explain a little bit what is the role within the ecosystem, like how the burning works. And personally, I was just interested also in the Loopring DAO to understand what's the status of that, when it's going to be released, what it will enable, if you want to anticipate something. And since we are going to launch the first version of the pNetwork DAO later this month, that's probably something that users are interested to know also for other projects such as yours.
Yes, sure. First, I have to clarify, Loopring doesn't have a DAO yet, but we do have the plan. That's why we put 20% of the profits into our DAO's funds. So LRC token can be staked by holders to earn protocol fees, and also by the DEX as the bond to follow protocol defined behavior. The 70% of the protocol fees come from all the Loopring all the DEX that using Loopring protocol will go to Loopring and will go to LRC token holders, and then 20% of the protocol fees will go to Loopring's future DAO. And then the rest 10% of the LRC will be burned off. That's our token economics. It's not perfect. I have to admit. We want to improve it, but it takes time. So.
Yeah, of course. I mean, building all these different components is like super complicated and necessarily like takes time. So you guys have been moving really quickly in the last few years. So you are right now, if I'm not wrong, the version live is 3.5, right?
Yes.
So there has been several like evolutions of Loopring from 2017 till today, and yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to see that like Loopring 3.5 is like completely different from like the earlier versions of Loopring, and the user experience is so much better, and basically now it's leading with an example of what can be obtained with a layer 2 on Ethereum today. Like, can you maybe Can I ask you to share some anticipations of like Loopring 4.0, if you want to share anything? Like, how is it going to look like? Should we expect like some big differences, for example, in the user experience or in functionalities?
How do you know Loopring 4.0? I don't know if any of us have disclosed this kind of information before.
That's, I mean, 4.0, I mean, 4.0 is mentioned in some of your blog posts. So I was looking at the 3.5 and I've seen, you just said 4.0 is like being worked on. So do you, I mean, if you feel comfortable in sharing some anticipations, I'm sure people are curious, right? I'm definitely am.
Yes, we will add some new features and some new functionalities for 4.0. I can't tell, I cannot disclose too much.
I just tried because I'm curious, you know, to know what's next.
Yeah. So for now, we just want to focus on the mobile version of our DEX, and also trying to find a way to work with the wallet. Just I mentioned the smart wallet, and like how to integrate or collaborate with them. But maybe next year, sometime early next year, we will deploy our 4.0s. So there will be a new functionalities, a new scalable functionalities, a faster, speedy solutions.
Cool. Looking forward to that and to knowing more of 4.0. Like I will, something I wanted to share is that you guys have open source, for example, like, most of your components are open source, if not all, I'm not sure, but surely the majority of them, or the relevant ones for the verifications of the security guarantees, and also like the DApp, for instance. So something that I wanted to share is that we have started to look into it, because we would like to integrate the peg-in and peg-out process of pTokens, for example, straight into the DApp. So we will be proposing we will basically be doing a pull request to see if we can make an integration that is valuable for users in general, to peg in Bitcoins directly. And I hope you guys will find it a nice addition to the DApp. So I'm looking forward to work together on that front. And something else I wanted to say, since there is a question from a user called Sancho that says, how can layer 2 be integrated into other wallets? When are you going to release your wallet? I mean, there are many questions, but maybe we can start from this one.
I'm reading it. So do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go first. Then I see there are some questions around the integration with the Edu wallet that we have just started as well. So maybe I will take those. But maybe if you can take the first ones, around your wallet, and if there are other integrations with other wallets in the workings.
Yeah, sure. First question is, how can layer 2 be integrated into other wallets? So the Loopring zkRollup decentralized exchange has open sourced the front end user interface. Any team can come to our GitHub and to build up a functionality and then submit the issue. Then we will accept and integrate the our zkRollup exchange onto other wallets. And second question is, when will the wallet come out? I don't know which wallet you talk about. Are you talking about the Loopring wallet? So we do have a plan to release a mobile wallet, a very basic smart contract, smart wallet, and it's already it's out already, but we only invite less than 20 people to test it. It's only on Android, and I think it might take another 2 or 3 months to fully release our mobile application. But again, I just want to emphasize that we are not into a wallet and competing. We're not competing with all the other wallets. We just want to open source and give the best user experience to the users. Our focus is still decentralized exchange, like trading and payment, P2P payment experience. And the question is, why don't you give an incentive to all Edu users to offer into layer 2? I would love to, but not now, because right now we are on Loopring protocol 3.0, but after Loopring 3.6, I think it's a time for us to promote, because for the difference between 3.0 and 3.1 and 3.6 is first, 3.6 is more scalable, and second, 3.6 don't require users to have a layer 2 account. So for example, if I want to transfer my Ether to my colleague or to Thomas, but Thomas doesn't have a layer 2 account, but I have Thomas layer 1 account, I can still transfer Ether to Thomas layer 2 account, and Thomas will receive this Ether, and he will automatically be created. He will automatically be given a layer 2 account. So that, I think that's a huge. I think
that's super cool. Yeah.
yeah. And now people still have to create a layer 2 account. If you don't have layer 2 account, I cannot transfer Ethers. And next question is, is it possible for Loopring take liquidity from Uniswap and other liquidity pool? Yes, and we are doing it actually. Like some market makers, they are using what we call mirror strategy for liquidity, like market makings. Some like tokens, they are only available on Uniswap, especially those DeFi tokens. So they are taking some liquidity from Uniswap and then doing market making between us and Uniswap. I think the next one is it possible in Edu wallet put a link for trade on Loopring? I think it's possible, of course. Maybe Thomas can add on.
Yeah, well, something I do is like a wallet that is very close in our ecosystem, and it's actually like a sister company of the Provable Things one that has built the pNetwork. So I do is like a wallet where integrations with the pNetwork normally happen first, for just because we are so close. And like for Loopring, there has been a lot of demand from the Edu users that are tens of thousands every month, and they like they want to know like how Loopring can be used. And for example, something that we are going to release very soon is like the support for Wallet Connect, which is supported by it's supported already by the Loopring DApp. So if you go on loopring.exchange, you can actually connect a wallet via Wallet Connect. So you will be able to connect Edu directly via Wallet Connect. So that's the first way. And then we're looking forward to like integrating also Loopring Pay for moving at zero cost, basically, the tokens to other like friends or do payments and things like that. And also for trades, so that you can have at least, something like market orders, basically, so users can easily exchange one token with another without the complexity of the order book, since the Edu users are normally used to such user experience. It's interesting what you said, that from 3.6 of Loopring, from that version, it will be possible to interact with users that don't have like an account there on layer 2 yet. Is it the case also for is it just Loopring Pay, or does it also mean that operating on the Loopring exchange will not require anymore any sort of activation process?
Yes, for both. If you it's just like we can help people to create a layer 2 account.
I see. So it's done on their behalf, basically. It's sort of done on their behalf. And yes. When is like, if you can disclose that, when is 3.6 estimated to be released approximately? Is it like close to release, or will it take longer?
I would say 3 months, another 3
Something
months.
like that. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's almost done. The code base is almost done. Now we just need to send to auditors to review it. I think maybe take another month. I think we will wrap up everything and complete everything by sometime in the middle of this month. Then to send all the code to the auditors to review, external auditors to review. They might take another month. Then maybe after review, we have to make some corrections or changes. They may also take another month. So I would say 3 months ish.
Okay, cool. Super interesting. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, anyone from the Edu ecosystem can use the Wallet Connect integration, since this is like basically the alternative than using MetaMask for most modern dApps.
Yes. Sorry, Thomas. I also want to
please.
add on one point is because we open source the some part of the Loopring Pay code base, because like any wallet team can just jump onto our GitHub code base and then build up their own H5 or user interface, like integrate into their wallet straight away. We actually had a bounty on Gitcoin, ask any community member to build up a user interface for our Loopring Pay. So no need to wait for us. If you add a wallet want to use Loopring Pay, you can just go to our GitHub to take a look at the code base and see how it works, and you can build up integration straight away.
Yeah, we definitely looking forward to do that. And something interesting that will be useful to know is, let's say projects integrate right now with the tools you are providing for the integration. Is the integration with 3.6 going to be smooth? Is there any big change that will be required, or should people integrating expect a seamless integration, a seamless transition?
For 3.0, yeah, the speed will be faster, and also for because right now, to be honest, I can tell you for 3.1, there's a cap for the users is 1 million. So we can only allow 1 million users to register account. But for 3.6, we can upgrade to 12 million users to register. So that's something that's a significantly change or upgrade. There's also other improvement like faster and cheaper fee settlement cost and transfer speed as well.
Excellent, cool. I see there's another question. Do you think volumes and liquidity will move from centralized exchanges to DEXs like Loopring, and will decentralized exchanges replace centralized exchanges?
We actually good questions. Actually, now we can see a good trend, some trends. A good example will be DeFi assets. Now we see all the DeFi assets, or even DAO, and people create a word called initial Uniswap offering. So back in 2017, 2018, or even 2019, people pay huge buck of money to get listed on central exchange. Sometimes a few $1 million to get listed on central exchange. I won't name them, but I know some project pay like $7 million to get listed on central exchange. That's ridiculous. And now people can just find a marketplace like Uniswap, like Loopring, to offer the liquidity or offer the asset to the communities. Like DeFi assets is a perfect examples. And now we can see some DeFi assets was listed on decentralized exchange first, then central exchange follow after. Compound will be a good example. It was on Uniswap first, then other central exchange, Coinbase follow, Binance follow up as well, and we will see more happen after.
Cool. One more question, the last one. When can we use stop loss on Loopring DEX? Like, is it available, or when will it be available?
You mean mobile?
Like
sorry,
stop loss functionalities.
Stop loss. So what do you mean stop loss?
Yeah, I mean, on some exchanges they provide like some triggers so that, for example, it's possible if I don't know, token goes below a certain price to automatically sell it or to buy and things like that. Is it something planned, or do you have any demand for that? Maybe there is not much, right?
Yeah, it's like more advanced feature for trading experience. We can actually add on now. It's not hard. It's actually quite straightforward. It's not It's not rocket science. We can do it now. But to be honest, I have to say we don't have enough developers to create.
It's not on the top of the priority. It's not the top priority, basically. There are many other things you guys have worked on, as we have seen during the call. So yeah, I think we can wrap up now since we have run past the hour quite a bit. So I don't see any other question anyway. So Jay, it has been really interesting. So I wanted to thank you for joining our community call and being our guest. We have all learned a lot during this call. Maybe if you want to share some closing thoughts, and then Savannah will close the call with some more indications of the channels that can be used to follow our projects and what's coming next.
Sure. I just want to say, Loopring offer listing free service. Anyone can just submit a form, and then we will take a look, then list all the assets. The process is really simple. And also I want to say I really think pTokens has good potentials, and also the DAO. I know you guys are going to start a DAO, and I really think there's good potentials.
Excellent. We are also looking forward to know more of the Loopring DAO once more details will be available. And I've seen recently that there are some examples of DAOs being bootstrapped where some of the participants are not users directly, but also other DAOs. So I think there is this new concept of DAOs of DAOs. So I think that's super interesting, and maybe one day we'll have the pNetwork DAO and the Loopring DAO participating one into the voting proposals of the other. So looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Thanks for
the
opportunity. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys all stay safe and healthy.
Yes, thanks, Jay. It's been really great having you on the call. It was very interesting to learn everything. So I guess if you want, I can add all of the Loopring community channels in the YouTube channel video, so everyone can connect with your team and your community. And we'll also leave all of our own pTokens channels as well in the chat and on our YouTube video, so everybody can join the conversation if you have more questions. For example, our pTokens Telegram is t.me/pTokens, and the Telegram for Loopring is t.me/loopring_en. So thank you very much again, Jay, for joining, and it'd be great to have you again sometime in the future, maybe when you have more updates.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
Great.
Thanks everyone. Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.